Welcome to Independent Minds, Expert Ideas, a virtual talk with true experts from all over the globe about how to thrive in a changing world. Today, my guest is Chris Davidson. Chris from West Kirby. Is it the place where you are right now?
That is the place where I am, yes. So Kirk is the old Scottish name for church. So West Kirby is the Western church, if you like. It's a tiny, tiny little dot on the map, 7,500 people, just right on the coast, on the left-hand coast. So that's the Atlantic Ocean coast of the UK, near Liverpool. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And we also met a lot of times in different places all over the world.
This is true. This is true. Yes, we always seem to pop up together. Yeah,
absolutely. And last time, I think it was in Namibia.
Correct.
Which is, also a nice place to be. And
beautiful.
We enjoyed the time there. And the reason why we have this talk today is that we both are part of this amazing book here.
We are, yes. And I have a copy here
too. It there too. Amazing. Yeah. And it has also the same title, Independent Minds, Expert Ideas. And you wrote an awesome article there. And I would like to talk about this and also about your professional background in the next 30 minutes.
Pleasure.
So you're an engineer, and I read that you worked in different industries, in aviation, in IT, also in telecommunication. And you're also a multiple times founder. One company is named the Active Presence consulting business.
Yes.
And I think last year you founded a company called Speaker Business Builder.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Speaker Business Builder, strictly speaking, isn't a company yet. It's still a brand of Active Presence, but it is a very different enterprise to Active Presence. That's quite true. So Speaker Business Builder builds and delivers websites for what I call the CATS community, consultants, authors, trainers, speakers, CATS.
Okay, that's interesting. What does this community have in common that this is your target group?
Right, okay. So the CATS community have many things in common, and there's a great deal of overlap between the constituent members. For example, there are many consultants who are speakers. There are many speakers who are authors and consultants. There are many speakers who are trainers. There are trainers who are consultants. So there are lots of people within the CATS community who share essentially the same challenges, which is how, as an independent small operator, they get their voice heard when all of them are authorities. And the only difference between consultants, authors, trainers, speakers is really how they principally bring their authority to market.
Yeah.
Some people bring it to market by being a consultant, principally. Some bring it to market by being an author, principally. I don't think that, even though I've written 6 books, I wouldn't describe myself as an author. Really. A speaker, yes, I speak more than being an author. So the differences between the various categories within the CATS community, really people self-select into which category they find themselves, but actually most of them play in most categories. So you can therefore say that they all share the same challenges, really.
Yeah. And as you said, it's not enough to be an expert or to have an expertise. You also have to bring it to the market and let people know about it, which is quite important.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
So you help people who have this expertise to get their expertise seen by other people.
Yes. And I think that there are 2 challenges there. There's a challenge to do with technology, and there's a challenge to do with what I call the thought processes, really. So I think you can overcome these challenges by better technology, by which I mean better use of technology, and really by better thinking. Let's approach that second topic first. I think that within the CATS community, generally speaking, members of the CADS community are too broad in their approach to the marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lack of specificity. Mm-hmm. And the more specific one can be, the better. Mm-hmm. Now, at some point in time, as companies grow, they're able to make a change. So take, for example, BMW from your home country. BMW, a very good car manufacturer, builds cars that address a number of market segments. Mm-hmm. However, within the BMW range, they are absolutely crystal clear as to which product addresses what particular subset of their market. Yeah. So, and it is no mistake or that BMW conquered the car market with the Series 5, the Series 3, and the Series 7. Yeah. Yes, I know there's a Series 1. Yes, I know there's a Series 2. Yes, I know there's a Series 4. But they didn't invent those first. They conquered the market with 3, 5, and 7. Mm-hmm. And then having conquered the market with 3, 5, and 7, they then went in and they picked out even smaller subset markets. And they said, okay, we'll have the BMW 1 Series in there. We'll have the 2 Series in there. We'll have the 4 Series in there. Very, very specific, even though as a big company, they address a big market. Yeah. And I think when you get down to real small independent consultants or authors, trainers, speakers, we have to be more specific. Mm-hmm. We cannot hope to cover the waterfront like BMW does. We're only going to operate within one little bit of that. Yeah, we're going to, and there's enough business in there, there's enough business in there for all of us. So I think we need to be more specific. And having been more specific, I think we can make better use of the technology that is available so that we are able to capture that bit of the market that we're after.
Exactly. Absolutely. And you also have a lot of experience in your life already as a consultant, but you started as an engineer. So
I started as an engineer, yes. So I read mechanical engineering at the University of Liverpool, not far away from where I live. I was born in this area. And then after reading mechanical engineering, I actually joined IBM. So I joined IBM in, oh my goodness gracious me, it scares me to even say it, 1981, I think, which is a long time ago now. So I joined IBM at just the time that IBM was bringing out the personal computer.
Oh, yeah.
Which was an absolute revolution, of course. Yeah. So that in the 1980s, computing was dominated by mainframe computers, the size of a wardrobe, and you would have many wardrobes in air-conditioned computer rooms, the size of a house. Yeah. And they would be owned by the accounting department, and you would need an army of programmers to run them and all the rest of it. And then this thing came along called the IBM personal computer, a computer I can put on my desktop.
Yeah.
Well, that's strange. We've never met one of those before. Now, the 1980s was an interesting decade for computing in that sense, because you had this overlap between technologies, even though throughout the 80s, it was still dominated by big mainframe computers. But year by year, the personal computer was gaining traction until about a decade later, 1991, when, frankly, all hell broke loose. Because Microsoft, if you remember 91, that's when Microsoft launched a PowerPoint, Word, Excel, and all the rest of it. Yeah. Lotus 123 had been around for a while by then. And also in 1991, you had Sir Tim Berners-Lee and the first website. So a decade after, it took a decade to get from 81 to 91, and then that's when it all went boom.
And it started,
and it really got wild then. Really, really interesting.
And it's still wild today.
Well, now that's interesting, you see. And you're absolutely right, it is, because in 91 things developed after 91, and Tim Berners-Lee, that's right. So that was when the internet kind of was just beginning to get off the ground. 2003, we saw Squarespace was launched in 2003. WordPress was launched in 2003. So 2003 was the point in time that you were able to quite easily create websites. Mm-hmm. So we go from 81 to 91 is the first decade, 91 to 03, roughly the next decade. Then around about the beginning of the 2000s, you're able to start creating websites quite easily. All of that then went out of the window in 2007 when Steve Jobs stood on a stage and said, here's this thing called an iPhone. And everybody the users got excited at the concept of this thing called an iPhone. And everybody in IT went, oh no, what's this guy just done? Because they instantly realized that anything that they were building online would have to communicate to this device.
Different devices, devices.
And then that was compounded, of course, in 2010 when the tablet came along. So it's really fascinating. This, I mean, I've been in IT now for 40 years, and I can absolutely, almost year by year, look at the pendulum and see the pendulum swinging from being, on the one hand, computing was hard when I joined IT. Eye-wateringly expensive, incredibly complex, and most of the time didn't work because it was just so difficult. So you had to do lots of testing and all the rest of it. And then it got easier and easier and cheaper as the pendulum swung to the other side. And it went that way until about 2010. And then over the last decade, it's come back the other way.
Okay, that's interesting.
And now computing right now for people in the CATS community, unless you have an army of programmers behind you, if it's people like you and me who are trying to do everything ourselves, if you're in the CATS community, one-man band, it is more difficult now than it was a decade ago, because there are more things that you can do, and everybody's expectations are that you will be doing them.
That's true.
So I come to a website and I expect there to be online chat. I expect to be able to get to your diary and book a meeting with you. I expect to be able to schedule a video conference call with you. You maybe have some products or books that you want to sell me. I expect there to be a shop. I expect to be able to use my credit card. Maybe you're offering some coaching online, and so you want me to sign a contract. So I expect there to be digital signature. I expect to be able to log into a member area, and I expect to be able to download materials and all the rest of it. And then, of course, as part of that coaching program you've just sold me, you'll want to educate me. So you'll want some sort of learning management system in there. And somebody is trying to tell me that this is simple. No. It's not simple at all. It's incredibly hard to get all of those systems integrated and working. Is back-breaking work.
Absolutely.
There's nothing simple about it all. A decade ago, it was quite simple. Not now.
Absolutely.
Not now. It's very, very difficult. And that's why, going back to the previous comment, I think we have to be very specific about the people who we choose to help. We have to be very specific about our marketplace. Otherwise, we get too diverse and we just can't help all the people we want to help.
Absolutely. I think people are in great danger to be not specific enough, because you want to get all the business you can, and you see all these different clients, and you want to open your store for everybody. But that's the wrong direction. What you say? You say be more specific and leave clients on the road that don't fit to you and your business.
Well, yes, there are 2 points there, aren't there? One of which is the more specific you are, then the greater the chance that you will meet people who are an extraordinarily good fit for what it is that you do. And if they're an extraordinarily good fit, then it's frankly easier for you to be able to serve them. which means that you can serve more of them.
Yeah.
So in terms of being more specific, yes, I think we need to be more specific in terms of where we assign our marketing resources, which is time and money at the end of the day. And for the people that we meet along the road on the way, yes, there will be other people we meet by chance along the way. And if we can help them, and if they want our help, that's good. But I don't think we need to necessarily go out of our way by trying to attract those people. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? They are quite literally people we meet at events or what have you, just by chance along the way. But they're not people to whom I'm going to assign marketing resource to try and attract.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because also marketing resources are limited, so you have to decide.
Absolutely, you know, I could
put it absolutely.
I could very easily say that I'm going to run a web design agency in the northwest of England,
yeah,
right? And then I would be fighting every web design agency in the northwest of England.
Yeah.
Now, you know, the northwest of England. Actually, in between Manchester and Liverpool in the northwest of England are two cities where there is a phenomenally high degree of digitally savvy people. So there's an awful lot of very highly qualified and digitally savvy people in Manchester and Liverpool. And then in the northwest of England, you have some really, really good web design agencies. Do I want to compete with all of them?
Yeah.
No. But I do know the speaker market inside out.
Yeah.
You know, I joined the PSA in the United Kingdom, I think back in 2003 or something like that. So a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so I've been in the speaker market. I've been a CATS community for a long time now. I know how that market operates. I know exactly what those people need. And in 2014, I set about doing a survey, an annual survey of all of their websites. So the Speakers Digital Footprint Survey.
So you looked at all the websites?
I look at thousands of websites a year.
Yeah.
And the 2020 edition is literally just it's just been put up on the Speaker Business Builder website. So I know exactly what's going on in all the websites in the CATS community to a statistically significant degree.
Yeah.
So I know where the gaps are. I know what these people need, and I know that community inside out. So that's where I'm applying my resource. And it's where I can honestly put hand on heart and look at the members of this community in the eye, and I say, I know what you're trying to do. I've been there myself. I understand the challenges. And I really can help you.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by being specific.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're an amazing example for being specific in this area. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you wrote an article about that in our new book.
Yes. The client engagement conundrum.
Exactly. Yeah. What is the core message? I'm pretty sure that you could have filled a book with all your.
I will be actually. I have another book to write.
Yeah.
Okay. I've promised myself that I will write one more book, and then I think I'll probably call it a day.
Yeah.
I will have written enough books in my life by then, especially as I don't consider myself, you know, an author. So I do have one more book to write, though, and it will be about this whole area. Yeah. But the client engagement conundrum, as the chapter is called, is really about, in a sense, about what we just discussed, this idea of being broad or being very specific. And what I'm saying is that I think for the CATS community, I think being specific is a good thing. And then once you have decided to be specific, it's clear that from my research of the websites in the community, that the websites there fall into a number of different categories. You can categorize them quite clearly as to where these websites are, and you can draw a path to see how websites can be developed through this sort of stage by stage by stage. But the initial point is being specific. And I'm saying that you've got 3 variables there. I'm saying that the 3 variables are the impact that you can make on an individual person, the number of those people that you can reach, and the uniqueness of your solution. Those are the 3 variables. So the bigger the impact, the bigger the number of people that you can reach, and the greater the uniqueness of your solution, the better. Those are the only variables you've got.
Yeah.
And I think that if you look at it like a formula, really, just like a simple arithmetic formula where you've got the impact multiplied by the reach, so that's the number on the top, and then divided by the uniqueness. And if you want that number, if you want that resultant equation to end up in a big number, then you make the number at the bottom, the uniqueness, you make that unique as you possibly can.
Yes.
That's how you get a big number.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way to play that formula to your specific needs, is to be as specific and as unique as you can with your offering.
Yeah. And this was also a great insight for me, because you said on one hand, be more specific. So you're narrowing down your market. On the other hand, you're saying you have to maximize your reach.
Right.
Which seems to be at first moment something that is, no, that's not working together, but exactly that's the right direction.
But exactly, go back to BMW, right?
Yeah.
3 Series, 5 Series, 7 Series. They knew exactly who they were targeting. The 3 Series was targeted at the young executive who has just got his or her first high salary sales role.
Yeah.
The 5 Series is that same person a few years later when they've got married and they have kids.
Yes.
The 7 Series is that same person a decade later when they've got a board director position.
Yeah.
That's it. It's absolutely crystal clear who they are targeting.
Yes.
Crystal clear. And if we are that clear, then, and we make our solution that specific, then we'll be okay. There are plenty of people out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are plenty of people out there. And the more specific we make the solution, the more impact we can have.
Yeah. And
impact is really, really important.
Yeah. And especially with all these digital technologies, you can reach far more people than 10 or 20 years ago. So you can stay in your niche, but you also can have a maximum of audience all over the country, and maybe also internationally.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Correct. Yeah. But again, it's just a very simple little story of something I've just done. I think it was last week or the week before last. I went through my email database, my outbound email database, and I really cleaned it up. And I took out thousands of email addresses. And I did that with the help of some email verification software that I purchased. And I was able to find email addresses that were simply no longer valid. People have left their jobs, whatever, and just take them out of the database. Now, several points there. Number one, it's making my database smaller and more specific. And because the email addresses that are left in the database are, I can guarantee, real valid email addresses, then that makes my whole email database more valid as far as the company that is serving me is concerned, and therefore the company, the email supplier that I use, the company that sends out those emails on my behalf, they look at me and they say, oh, Chris is a good guy. He has a nice, clean email database. He doesn't send out any spam or any rubbish like that, right? So they give me a better service. I get a logical pat on the back from them, and more of my emails end up being delivered to people's email boxes and not going into spam and all the rest of it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Any which way you look at this, being more specific helps.
Yeah, yeah. And you also have to invest time for the wrong clients, which you can skip when you just focus on the right ones. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There was one sentence or one paragraph in your chapter that I liked very much, and it made me think about my business. It was about the importance of knowing your dream client.
Yeah.
My first thought was, I like every client that I have.
That's not the point. That's not the point. Yeah, every client I have starts from that position.
Yeah.
And I say, yes, Christian, or whoever it is, I know that you can help such and such or so and so. That's not the question.
Yes.
The question is, if Mr. or Mrs. dream client, the person that you absolutely would just love to have as a client, because he or she would be so easy for you to help, so easy for you to help them build their business, create whatever it is that you do would be so easy for you to help them. And you would make such a change in their life. What would that person be? Because that's the person to whom you spend and drive 80% of your marketing budget at those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the others, you just gather along the way, along the road. You pick them up as you go down.
Yeah.
Because marketing always has a little bit of a fluffy edge to it. So you pick up other people along the way, but you've got to go at a real bullseye. So the dream client. So I've developed a process called the product client alignment matrix. And that is a process system that I go through with clients that results in a definition of the dream client, number one, a definition of products that serve the needs of that dream client, number two, and number three, sales copy about those products that serves the needs of that dream client. And all of that sales copy is ready to go, and it gets loaded straight into the website when we build it.
Yeah.
And we've just got to the stage with a client now. Just yesterday morning, I showed him his website for the first time, the first draft of his website. And he was very excited. And one of the comments he said, looking at the website, I said, Chris, these words, these are all the same. These are the words that we've been working on in the product client alignment matrix. I said, well, yeah, they should be, shouldn't they? They should be. They should. I hope they are. They should be. We've spent a month creating these words.
Yeah.
Let's not go and invent something else. And yet I see, I come across web design clients who, they get a web designer on board and they show me a picture, a JPEG or a printout of what their web design is producing. This is what they think the home page is going to look like. And, some picture or whatever. And it's a pretty picture. And in there is a whole load of lorem ipsum, And what's the value of this? This is a valueless document.
Yeah.
And what is happening is that web design is a broad church, and unfortunately, when people who aren't IT people, when they see the word web designer, they think that is somebody who designs websites. And it sort of is, but they don't understand what the word designer means. Mm-hmm. And a lot of web designers are people who come from a graphic design background, mm-hmm. and their expertise actually is in the user experience.
Yeah.
And they are used to being given the output of a project done by a business process consultant that says, okay, this is what the user experience needs, design a system that delivers it.
Mm-hmm. And not the other way around.
And not the other way around. Yeah. But people who if they don't, and I get that, I understand, you know, not everybody's had 40 years in IT. I get it. I understand. So people go to the marketplace, they say, oh, web designer, that's what I need. I need a website, therefore I need a website designer. It's completely understandable. Yeah. You don't need a website. The first thing you need, if you want to end up with a good website, mm-hmm. the first thing you need is a clear business plan, which most small operators don't have because they're not specific enough. Yeah, so what you actually need to get to a good website, you need to have a good website architecture. To get to a good website architecture, you need to have business analysis.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it starts with business analysis. It gets to a website architecture, which is displayed as a wireframe. You give the wireframe to a website designer and say, make that look pretty.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and then when the original client sees the first pass of the website, they go, "Wow, that's about 90% right. Yes, it should be. That's just how it should be."
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, give us another couple of days and we'll have it finished. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an important thing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is also a major part of your article, because one title was getting your website right. Yes. What you say. There's a lot content in that article about that. Yeah. But can you maybe share just 3 tips for the audience about where they should focus on? Especially the people who are building their website on their own using WordPress or other things.
Yeah. I would say the following: use a good content management system. Mm-hmm. Use a good content management system that gives you pretty much everything you need under one roof or one set of technology. Why? Because then you're pretty much assured that the technology within that one system is going to cooperate and play together nicely.
Yeah.
And at least if it doesn't, it's not your problem. It's somebody else's problem. So you can open a trouble ticket and get it sorted.
Yeah.
So if you are in the CATS community, then you're probably going to be looking for a system that, for example, might have an integrated booking engine so you can integrate with your calendar. You probably will want to have e-commerce because everybody's got e-commerce nowadays. You probably want to have some kind of membership system. So look for a content management system that delivers as much as you can get in one system. And mm-hmm. None of these systems are perfect. So you are going to have to make some compromise somewhere along the way. But look for one that covers pretty much as much of the waterfront as you can, yes, without having to resort to extra plugins. Yeah. Because it's at the boundaries of these systems where you have to integrate them is where all the problems occur.
Yeah.
So try and get as much as you can under one cover. That's the first point.
Yeah.
Second point, make sure you get the fundamentals right. And many websites don't have. Of the 1,000 of websites that I review every year, I can tell you 3% meet all the criteria.
3.
Wow, 3. Right? It's amazing. So let's go through them. Yeah. HTTPS security.
Yes.
You must have it.
Yes.
Now, many people listening to this video will go, "Whoa, yeah. That's obvious, Chris. You know, everybody's got that." The answer is no, they haven't. They haven't. I can tell you that because I measure it.
Yeah.
Right? 48%. of the
40?
websites I measured this year don't have HTTPS.
No.
Yes, that's half of them.
Which means that they cannot be seen on some browsers.
Which means that the Chrome and Firefox mark these websites as being not secure.
Yeah.
Now, do you really want to advertise your website and the services that you offer to your dream client as not? No, don't go there, right?
Yeah.
So HTTPS, absolute necessity. And you know, Google is, as you quite rightly say, is now playing a very tough game here.
Yeah.
You know, so that's number one. Number two, mobile, right? You have to offer a really good mobile experience. Well, everybody does, don't they? No, they don't. 24% don't. That's a quarter.
Yeah.
Not as bad as HTTPS, but a quarter of the websites we reviewed do not offer a good mobile experience.
Yeah.
And from September this year, Google has openly said we expect our mobile first index project to be complete. So from September this year, Google will only be indexing the mobile version of your website. They're not interested in anything else. The only thing they're going to look at is mobile. So you are going to have to deliver everything that you want to deliver to your clients. You are going to have to deliver through mobile, and it's going to have to look and work beautifully.
Yes.
So HTTPS, mobile, get it sorted.
Yeah.
Facebook Pixel.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody is on Facebook. I know everybody says they're not on Facebook, but they are. You know, they're all there somewhere, right? Even the mums and dads who are only there to only have a profile to keep an eye on their teenage daughters or whatever, right? But they're there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So why not have the Facebook Pixel installed? It's free. Well, everybody has got the Facebook Pixel installed. No, they haven't. 10% of websites have the Facebook Pixel installed, Christian. 10%.
Yeah.
Lots of people have Facebook pages, but then they don't have the Facebook Pixel installed.
Yeah.
Well, how are they connecting the two then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So those are three. I would, you know, the first two are absolutely critical.
Yeah.
Because once you fix them, you fix them. You don't have to. It's not like you have to go back every week or every month and do it. Just get it done. Get the Facebook Pixel installed, get that done.
Yeah.
And then the final point that I would say, which makes the massive difference, is do understand that the world's very best websites are never, ever finished.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good advice here.
Every single website it's like a tree.
Yeah.
It's like the big old trees in my garden. They just keep growing.
Yeah.
They just keep growing.
Yeah.
The roots go deeper, the branches go higher.
Yeah.
And so the gold standard is a weekly post. A blog is the easiest way to grow your website because every blog post is a new page on the website. So that's the easiest way to grow it. I don't really mind whether you write stuff or use video or do podcasts. You know, I don't really mind that.
Something should happen, yeah.
But something should happen.
Yeah.
And the answer is only 8% of the websites that we measured, only 8% of the survey population updated their websites weekly. 8%. So there is great opportunity.
Absolutely.
There's great opportunity.
Yeah. And it sounds, in a way, it sounds easy in the way that it can be done by everybody.
Well,
it's not about having extremely technical skills. You just have to do it somehow.
No, it's not about having it. It's not about having technical skill. It's about knowing. Mm-hmm. It's about two things. It's about consistency. Yeah. Persistence, consistency, and we're not very good as human beings at that, to be honest. Yeah, we're not. You know, we'd much rather rush off and go and do something exciting over there, and something exciting over here, and go and do this tomorrow, and go and do that. You know, we're not very good at doing the same thing week in, week out. But there is a consistency issue
that you can focus on, but being consistent in what you do is quite important. Absolutely.
Yeah. So consistency is important, and then asking the right questions. Yeah. And I absolutely understand that if you don't have a long, deep technical background, then you don't know what questions to ask of the people who you employ to help you with implement all of this technology. You just don't know what questions you should be asking them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I'm trying to do with Speaker Business Builder, really, is just to be a helpful force in the market to just freely educate people, so that I can get people to a level where they understand the questions they should be asking of the people that they are selecting to help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Final question, Chris, because I know that you have a lot of experience, especially in the IT world, and you've seen a lot of changes already.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of changes taking place right now, not only with Corona, where we all have to deal with, but also in the time afterwards, there will be a lot of changes. How do you see the changes in the business world right now, and what would be your recommendation for people, especially for business owners, how to deal with that?
Great question. Well, as you and I know, Christian, when we wrote this book, we had no idea that 2020 was going to be the 2020 it turned out to be. Okay,
absolutely.
That's just an historical kind of fact now, and we find ourselves where we are, getting on with it. Putting to one side the human tragedy involved of where we are in the kind of middle of 2020, or getting towards the middle of 2020 now, I think that, putting that to one side, I think that what one can see is really a great telescoping of what would normally have come to happen anyway. I'm thinking particularly here of businesses that are dealing, broadly speaking, in intellect. Mm-hmm. That is, for example, consultants, authors, trainers, speakers. So I'm excluding here the hospitality sector. I'm excluding here aviation. I'm excluding manufacturing. Okay, but looking at people who, broadly speaking, deal with intellectual matters. Mm-hmm. All right. Banking would be one. Financial advisors would be another. Everything that they thought they might be getting into in a few years' time is going to happen tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Broadly speaking. Yeah. So if we look at the world that you and I occupy as members of associations that are aligned to the Global Speakers Federation, we could see in 2019, maybe in 2018, we could see, yes, a move to a digital environment would be carrying on. We were all using Zoom and what have you. We were all experimenting with, if we didn't have actually in the marketplace, events that we were delivering partially as workshops on site, and then partially over Zoom like this. We all had programs that we were delivering through learning management experiences and the like. But now all of that has arrived, bang. And the future, even when we get back to whatever the new normal will be, the future will be much more a process of blended events, for example. So by complete happenstance, Speaker Business Builder came about. I launched Speaker Business Builder formally in January 2019 after many years of research, testing, and investment, and that was just complete happenstance. And I launched it and did so as a complete online business. And I think, therefore, that in terms of the changes that people should be preparing themselves for, any investment made in an online world isn't going to be wasted. Put it like that.
Yeah.
So there was an old adage that my father used to pass on to me from his time in the army, which was that time spent in reconnaissance is seldom wasted.
Yeah.
And in a sense, I would say that the time we have for reconnaissance is kind of over. and now we all have to move pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But anything that you do online, you're not going to end up wasting it. You will recoup that investment somehow, even if in a year's time you find yourself jumping from one technical platform to another and you think, oh my goodness gracious me, we've had to write off that investment. You haven't really. You've made a huge leap forward in terms of your understanding, your education and what have you. Think of it in that sense. And you're just moving from one technical platform to another, because there will always be that need.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, all of these platforms that we are engaging with, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, all of these platforms, let's remember, none of them existed at the turn of the century.
Absolutely.
None of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Google was just about there when it was founded in 98.
Yeah.
And you know, and I often ask people this question often when I'm to one of my favorite questions to audiences. I say, okay, so who came first, Amazon or Google? And everybody says, oh, Google. No, they're wrong. Amazon beat them to it. Amazon came around in 94 or 96 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then Google just crept in, and then before the turn of the century, and everybody else is after.
Absolutely.
And you know, we are in the third decade of the 21st century.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to remember that.
And this is not the end of the journey.
And it's not, you know, it's not the end of the journey. So I think, as I say, leaving aside the human tragedy and focusing in on sectors that basically are to do with intellectual capital, then invest heavily in doing anything online.
Yeah.
Because you will recoup that benefit in some way, shape or form. You can't really go wrong there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're someone who can help people in doing that in the right way. Thank you, Chris, for
my pleasure.
For this great talk. There was a lot of wisdom in it. And I think there's even more wisdom in this book here, especially in your article. How can people connect with you afterwards?
Oh, well, the best, Active Presence is my company.
Yes.
Active Presence in the United Kingdom. I'm fairly easy to find, activepresence.com. So you send an email there, Chris@activepresence, that'll find me.
Perfect. So we will put the address also in the show notes under that video, also the link where you can order that book. Again, it was a pleasure talking to you, and hopefully we can meet soon again.
Another event somewhere in the world.
Somewhere in the world. I'm looking forward to that. And all the best for you.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Goedendag, mijn naam is Paul Terwo en de groeten vanuit Zwolle in Nederland.
Dumelang ho tswa kwa Afrika Borwa, leina la me ke Ogopoleng Mushi.
Hello, greetings from West Kirby, near Liverpool in England. My name is Chris Davidson.
Moin und hallo aus Berlin, Deutschland. Mein Name ist Ilja Gee.
Good day everyone, my name is Lindsay Adams. I'm speaking to you today from Brisbane, Australia.
Hello, and greetings from Erlangen, Germany. I'm Laura Baxter.
Hi, ek is Siegfried Lange. Ek is van Windhoek, van Namibia.
Hello, and greetings from West Wales. My name's Rebecca Jones.
Hallo aus Düsseldorf, Germany. Mein Name ist Buchholz.